Hello, so I got some of these and I'm pretty impressed with them. They're like these neck cooler things that work surprisingly well. So I'll show you the packet for them, then I'll show you the one I've already got open. Because we ended up getting one and then thinking, wow, this is great, let's order some more, because these are only about £4 or £5 on Amazon. So it says Bushcraft Explorer on it, neck cooling scarf, great in hot conditions. Now you can actually use this as a warm thing if you wanted to as well. So there's the instructions for use. What I'll do is, if you want to read these properly, just pause the video here and I'm just going to get on with it and show you. So let's put this one away. I'll just show you what it looks like when you first actually get one and haven't done anything with it. See, it's just a neatly folded down, sort of looks like just a strip of material, so they're pretty small when they're dry. So here's one that I soaked in water the other day and it's not fully dried out yet, but it's mostly dried out yet, and you'll see it's pretty small. The only thing I've done with this one is I've tied this bit here because there was actually a little gap here where some of the stuff was leaking out, so I've tied it and it's absolutely fine, but obviously the stitching does need to be good on these. So basically what you do with these is you soak them in water, which I'll demonstrate. They soak up loads of the cold water, and then the gel inside keeps the water in there for absolutely ages. Now this one, I think it was about 2 days ago I fully had it soaked. So it's taken over 48 hours roughly to almost totally dry out. So these were definitely, if you soaked it in the morning and on a hot day, last you all day. And it says once you've soaked them in water you can put them in the fridge for a while to make them even colder, which might be a good idea. Hopefully all the hot weather we've had in the UK is past us now, but these are definitely good for sort of coming up for longer in a year. And I know I get watched by people over the world, so you know, maybe if you're in a hot climate these would be a good idea. It also says you can microwave them, so I assume you soak them in water, stick them in the microwave for not very long, and then you can have them as a hot thing in the winter. I probably wouldn't bother with that, I'd use a regular scarf. But anyway, let me demonstrate these. Right, so as you can see, there's the sink. Now I'm going to fill it about halfway up with cold water. Be aware, because these absorb water, you might need a bit more water in it than you think necessary. Now, the instructions say to soak these for 20 minutes. I found even 5 minutes will do a good job. Right, let's turn the tap off here. Actually, I'll tell you what, we'll fill it up to where you can see where the water line is, because that'll be more interesting. So, if I slow it down now, you can see that the water line is just below the sort of drainage channel bit to stop the sink overflow, the overflow sort of bit. So let's put this in the sink and push it under. They do say on the instructions check the gel's kind of evenly distributed in the sort of sock tube type thing, or else what will happen is that the obviously it will be very swollen at one end and kind of fill at the other. So what I'm going to do here is, as you can see, it's floating in there like that. I'll just stop the camera in a moment, but when I come back in 5 to 10 minutes time to resume filming the video, you'll probably notice that the water line is a lot lower than it was, so see you in a minute. Okay, that's been about 10 minutes, and as you can see the water line's probably gone down a little bit. This is certainly more inflated. So what I'm going to do now is pull the plug out and let that drip dry. I'm going to leave it in the sink for a few minutes, just simply because when you first done these, they actually tend to drip a bit. I think it's generally this bit around this side that tends to drip, because obviously that's just like cloth that's regularly soaked up water, whereas this bit is the bit of the gel in. So what I'm going to do is just leave that in the sink for a moment, as said, move that bit away from the tap so it doesn't drip onto it, and then in a few minutes I'll get it out and demonstrate how it actually works. Okay, so here it is, it's mostly dry. You'll notice that most of it's all down to this end and it gets a bit thinner at this end. I'm doing that sort of intentionally because this was the end it was leaking from. I think if you look at the stitching closely there, you can actually see where there's a bit of a hole there. This is the bit we're going to thread the other bit through anyway, so what we're going to do is put this around our neck, so it's like that, and then with this bit with the little collar we're going to thread through. Now this is going to still be slightly damp, it won't be too bad, especially on a hot day, but after a while you won't get wet at all from this because the moisture is just going to be entirely contained by the gel. So yeah, let's pull that there like that. So as you can see, that's kind of tied almost around my neck, but if I turn around you'll be able to see that obviously that's all on my neck there, tied up. Now this is fairly decent when you put this bit through there, it's not going to fall off on its own accord. Now my shirt's going to get a bit damp, as you can probably see where this is, but as I said, that will quickly dry. Once you've had this on for about 10 minutes or so, you're not going to get any more moisture coming out onto your clothes, because everything that's in there is just the stuff the gel's got soaked into it. So obviously this is fairly cold being on my neck. At the moment it's just whatever the temperature of the water was in the sink, so probably under 10 degrees Celsius. However, obviously if you put it in the fridge you'd get it to probably like 2 or 3 degrees Celsius, which would be much colder. However, the point of these is that you can have them on your neck all day while you're outside in the hot sun, and they're very good at keeping you cool. So I've not used this long enough to give it lots of field testing outdoors, but I was wearing this on some really hot days when it was the 30 odd degree days over and over and over, and they do a very good job of actually preventing you from getting headaches and things like that. As I said before, another thing I like doing is just grabbing a cap, just a baseball cap style thing, soak these in water and put them on your head as well. That's also very good for sort of preventing headaches and keeping your head cool in hot sunlight, because obviously what happens is that the sort of temperature and everything has to evaporate the water from your hat before it then starts to heat your head up. So soaking a hat through cold water means the hat's cold for quite a while, and prevents your head heating up really quickly. But yeah, these collar things are really good, and as I said, you can buy these on Amazon for about £4 or £5. As far as why lots of militaries do use these ones, whether or not it's this company's one that are used, I don't know, but you can find pictures of soldiers in deserts with these wrapped around their necks. Obviously they've soaked them in water, they're then being cold for sort of quite a few hours. I think these are meant to last at least 24 hours before you actually have to do them again, and as I said, I had this one done for about 48 hours and it still hadn't quite lost all of the water from it. It still felt cool to touch. So yeah, these are very good if you want something that will keep you cold. It looks a bit silly, but they will actually keep you cool when you're using them. So that's really all I have to say about these. Like I said, your shirt will get a bit damp to begin with, but you should be alright after a while. I found, especially on a hot day, the water in your shirt's going to not absorb, sort of evaporate very, very quickly, and then it's just totally down to the neck cooler. But these will last hours and hours and hours, of actually providing you cool relief. And as I said, if it's really hot, then you could also put them in the fridge, and it also says on the instructions you can microwave these with water in, I do assume, to sort of keep it as like a hot neck thing for hours. But personally I prefer having it cold, because as I said, in the winter I'd just be wearing warm clothes anyway. But yeah, these are very good for what they are. So obviously you saw the packet at the beginning if you wanted to buy them or wanted to read the instructions further. But overall, yeah, these are really good for the sort of low price they cost, and I think they would do a very good job of keeping you cool on sort of days where there's almost nothing you can do to avoid the heat.